Hello everyone and welcome to the next session of Core Java. In this, we are going to discuss about a very important keyword, that is static keyword. So let's get started. First of all, let's understand what is a static keyword. Now when I say what is a static keyword, in short, it is a keyword. So it has got a specific meaning in Java programming language. So what is this static? Is basically a modifier which is non-access modifier. Means it is going to provide some modification to element with which you are using it, but it is not specifying the scope of that particular element. Now how I'm going to make use of this static keyword in my Java application? I can declare variables as static or methods or block or nested class. So in short, static can be used with variables, methods, blocks and nested classes. What is the significance of using this static keyword? Is what we have seen so far is whenever we are creating a class and we are specifying instance data members, every instance has got its own copy of instance data members. However, if I need that multiple objects should share same variable or same method, instead of creating its own copy, in that case, we can make use of static keyword along with the variable. So what happens when I'm declaring a variable as static variable is only one copy will be created, which will be shared amongst all the instances of that particular class. So this is what we just discussed. Static is used for a constant variable or a method that is same for every instance of a class. So instance will not have its own copy of that particular variable. When a member or a variable of a class is declared as static, it can be accessed even before the objects for that particular class are created, first thing. And second thing, those variables can be accessed without object reference. Now, what is meaning of this? When I'm creating instance data members belong to instance. However, static is also called as a class variable which belongs to class. So instance data members will be accessed through instance and class data members will be accessed through class only. Next, we will see how we can make use of static keyword. So static keyword can be used for a block or a variable, a method or a class. So we will be looking at the usage of static keyword through the code implementation itself. So let's first see what is static block. So it is simple block which is created using static keyword. What is the specification of this particular static block is it gets executed even before the main method in your application is executed, and this static block gets executed only once. So what we can have or what code I can write in this static block is whatever static variables I have declared in my application, initialization of that code, those variables can be written in this static block. So let's have a look at this static block through the implementation. So here I am creating a class let's give it a name as static block demo. How to create a static block? Simply we will be using static keyword and there will be curly bracket, and whatever code I want to write right now, I'm simply writing as inside static block, and I will create a main method, and in this I will print the code or print the statement as inside main method, and we will execute the code. Here we are observing that static block gets executed even before main method gets executed. Now, why to focus on main method? Because so far we have seen that main method is the starting point of execution of our Java application. So static block gets executed even before main method. So what is the purpose of this is, if you want any code or any functionality to be available for your application even before its execution is started, then you can write that code in the static block. Like database connectivity code is there, which must get executed only once, right? And I want that database connectivity should happen even before the actual execution of my application happens. So that code can be written into static block. So first let's get executed or this particular code. So you can see that inside static block is executed and then inside main method is being displayed on the console. So static block gets executed before main method. So whatever static data members you have, those static data member initialization, which must be done only once, that code can be written in the static. Now, can I have multiple static blocks? Let's see. So I'm adding one more static block over here, and I'm printing a statement as inside static block 2. So you can see that all static blocks are executed before main method, and these static blocks are executed in a sequential manner. So this is about static block. Next part which we will be discussing is static variable. So a variable which is declared using static keyword is called as static variable. And as I have already mentioned, there will be only one copy of that variable which is created, and all instances will share same copy of the variable. Static variables are global variables. They must be declared at class level. They cannot be local variables, or in other words, local variables cannot be declared as static variable because they represent the class variable. So let's now see how we can create a static variable. So I'm creating a class, say employee class I have. So I'm declaring a variable int employee ID, private string name, and private string company name. So let's first see, if I don't have static variable, what I need to do. So I will add setters and getters for all, which we have already discussed. I will create another class in which we will have main method. Say employee main. And I'm creating object of employee. So say for example, these are the employees from Microsoft, something like this. I'm creating one more employee object because one company is going to have multiple employees and every employee must be represented in the form of employee object. So employee 2 dot set employee ID. Now this information regarding the employee ID and employee name, obviously it is specific to employee. However, when I say that the company name for all the employees of one company will be same, so its value will be same for all the objects. So why to assign it every time for each object separately, right? Because value will be same and that is constant or that is available to all the objects, right? All objects will have company name parameter as Microsoft only, because here I'm considering a scenario where all the employees are from same company. So instead of specifying this company name as instance data member, we will specify it as a static variable over here. So this becomes a static variable. So right now I am removing this and I am only specifying getter method for company. Okay. This method will also be a static method. We will see how to access static method and static variable outside the class as well. And to demonstrate that, for time being, I'm removing this private access modifier from here for time being. Now initialization. So we can make use of static block, which we have already seen. So static company name equal to Microsoft, right? And here we will not set the value at all. We will not set the value of this particular variable, right? However, we will be able to retrieve that value. Now, how we are going to retrieve that value? For demonstrating that how a static variable can be accessed outside the class, we will add the static method later on. How this static method can static variable can be accessed outside the class, I have kept it non-private. So system.out.println class name dot variable name. This is how it will directly be accessed outside the class. It is always class name dot variable name. So all the objects will have same company name. So whenever I'm printing employee dot get employee ID and employee dot get employee name, employee2 dot get employee ID and employee2 dot get employee name. So this is going to print same value for this particular company name. So this is how we can declare a variable which will be static variable and it will be accessed with class name dot variable name and it is shared amongst all the instances. You can see that employee ID and name is different for every employee. However, company name value is same throughout the application. Next, we will see how can we have methods declared as static. So, static keyword used along with a method declaration in the signature itself allows us to declare methods which are static methods. Now, there are certain restrictions while accessing static methods. So, they can be accessed using name of the class. They can directly call other static methods only, and they can access static data directly, where instance methods and instance data members cannot be accessed in static methods directly. Let's check it through the implementation. So here I am creating a class, say static method demo. I'll create two methods. One will be static, one will be non-static. So public void display. This is one method, which is instance method or non-static method, and public void show. And when I want this particular method to be a static method, we will make use of static keyword, public static void show. Now I'm declaring variables. So private int num1 and private static int num2. So two variables we have over here. One static, one non-static, two methods, one static, one instance. So let's now see how can we access these variables over here. So num1 equal to 10, num2 equal to 20. So I can access both instance and static data members in a non-static method directly. I can also print, no issues with that. Now when it comes about static methods, so let's assign value to num1, say 30, and num2 equal to 40. Now you can see that while accessing num2, which is a static data member, we are not getting any compilation error. However, while accessing this num1, we are getting compilation error that says cannot make a static reference to a non-static field num1. That means static methods cannot access non-static data members directly. So what could be the solution? Solution number one, make this num1 as a static data member. Very simple solution. What could be the reason? Why we are declaring instance data members? Because I want the data which is instance specific. By declaring any variable as static, I'm making that variable common to all the instances. So all the data will not be common for all the instances. So keeping this num1 as an instance data member is must, right? Why we need this num1 variable to be kept as instance data member? Because whenever I'm creating instance, that means I need some data which is instance specific. By making a variable as static, I'm making it common for all the instances. All data members cannot be common, cannot be same for all instances, right? So that's why it is required that num1 must be kept as instance data member. So as it belongs to instance, it must be accessed through the instance of that particular class only, right? So whenever in a static context, you need to access any instance data member or member function, it must be called using object of that particular class. So new static method demo, and here we will use demo.num1. Now it is accessible and the error is also gone. So this is how we are going to create static method and specifications of the static method. Then let's see how can we access this static method outside the class. So here I'm creating main method. We have seen that we have created two methods. One is instance method, one is static method. So whenever we are using instance data or instance method, we need to access it through the object of the class. So display will be accessed through object of the class. However, this static method will be called by using name of the class. We will not be using instance of that particular class. This is how static methods will be utilized. Now, what is the need of static method? Whenever you don't need data from the object, or you don't want explicit object creation just for the call method, you can declare or define a method which will be a static method which belongs to a specific class. So this is about static methods. Now the next part is static class. Now static class means a class declared as static. Whatever classes we have created, remember that these outer classes cannot be declared as static classes. Whenever you have inner class or nested class, then that inner class or nested class can be specified as a static class. So only inner classes can be static classes. Outer classes will never be static classes. And for accessing those nested static class, we don't need any reference of outer class. Obviously, we will be discussing these nested classes in detail in forthcoming sessions. So we will be revisiting this particular topic. So right now, this is about static queue. Thank you.